The Kingsmen, welcome to another Friday assessment. Yes, get excited. Why? Because you have made it across another week. You have made it across another night into another day that you have never seen before. All the Kingsmen, come on in. Please like, tag, share. Let me know what's going on. Drop a line so we can connect. All the Kingsmen, we are here. We are in such a critical time. This is a critical time in your life. Why? Because this is the Friday assessment. This is the day that you have made the decision. You have made a conscious decision that I'm going to be better. You have made the conscious decision that there is a power, there is an ability on the inside of me, but I must uncover it so that I can go in there and possess it and tap into it and walk in it and activate it in whatever I need to do. All the King's men, there is power on the inside of you. What am I saying? There are things that you desire to do. There are things that you know that you are called to do. There are things that keep pulling on you, and you keep, look, in the natural, you like, I cannot do that. In the natural, you're looking like that's beyond me. That's for somebody else. But if the thing keeps bothering you, if the thing pulls you, it tugs on you, anytime you hear about it, anytime you see, anytime that it comes across you, and it has an effect on you to the positive or to the negative, do you realize that's a thing that actually you've been called to? That is a thing that you've been called to affect. What do I mean, a thing that you've been called to affect? The reason why I say you've been called to affect, but yet you turn it away, yet you turn the noise down, yet you turn that down, but yet it affects you louder and louder on the inside. What that means is that you have been given an ability. What is ability? That means that you have been given a power. There is something that's been deposited on inside of you. That's why it's greater on the inside of you than on the outside, because the outside can only see what they can see, but there is also a potential that few will see that's inside of you, and they will tell you things that may sound foreign to you, some things that you may relate to because there are some things that you tapped into. But I want you to know that there is an ability that's on the inside of you. Why? Because the ability is the thing that God deposited on inside of you to actually go forth, make a change. And what does it do? It's the very thing that we all make excuses about. What am I here for? It is a direct correlation with purpose. Many of us struggle with that thing called purpose. And believe it or not, I don't want you to get purpose tied up with kingdom and with this world. And what I mean by kingdom and with the word, I mean with your job, because often we allow our job, our role, our title to define us. But do you realize that your purpose in the kingdom is actually tied to your role on your job, to what you're actually doing on your job? So when I say the role and what you're doing, there's actually purpose in that role. So therefore, your role may be floor sweep. Your role may be director of a division, a business unit. But inside of that, there is purpose in that role, because in that role, there are responsibilities and there are tasks that you must do. Therefore, you are affecting other people. So, therefore, the things and how you're affecting other people, it should actually ignite something inside of you so that you can leave a residue over there, so that it's building you, and that you're preparing to be greater, to build the kingdom. Why? Because the ability was put on the inside of you for you to reproduce. Look, I was talking to a brother, and he made me really chew on something. He gave me something to think about. I'll phrase it that way. He gave me something to think about, because I want you to think about what I just said. He said, when the word said be fruitful and multiply, it wasn't just about in the sense of reproducing people. He said something, because I never looked at it that way. What did I just say? He put an ability on a power in order for you to be fruitful, in order for you to multiply. When I look at Matthew 25 over there at 15, he gave them talents. He gave one this many talents. He gave another this many talents, and he gave another this many talents. And the expectation was to multiply that talent. The expectation was to be fruitful with that talent, because when he came back, he said, I'm coming back looking for more. That's what I mean. There is an ability on the inside of you. And look, when you tap into the core of the ability, the thing starts to grow, because the ability, it looks this small, but it's this huge, it's this great thing. But you got to fertilize it. You got to take that thing, because it's a seed that's there. And what you do with a seed, you put it, you take the soil and make sure that it's prepared. You drop the seed. So God, when he created you, he made sure that the soil was right, and he dropped the seed in the right soil. Then he covered it up. And then what you got to take to it, to that make sure that you fertilize it, make sure that you water it, make sure that you keep the weeds out of it, make sure that you tend to it. Because when it starts to break ground, you start to see a little leaf, and the little leaf is it actually starting to break ground. And so that there is something there under that ground. For a little while, I thought it was nothing. I thought it was just a seed that I put in the ground that was never going to break through, come forth and bud. That's what the ability is on the inside of you. So therefore, he'll show you the end. He'll show you what you're doing, and then he'll bring you back to the core of the thing that I put the ability on the inside of you. He told them over there in Deuteronomy. Remember, when you get all this, I'm the one that gave you power to get wealth. That means that he put an ability on the inside of those over there in Deuteronomy. And we must not forget about that. God gave us a natural born ability, but we must uncover it. We must press into it. I said uncover, and I don't want you to get mixed up. I don't want you to think, man, that's the hardest part. No, it's not the hardest part. It's the hardest part because we neglect it by looking at what somebody else is doing. What we're not doing is that we're not praying into it. We're not giving ourselves to prayer and fasting so that we could see that God has given us ability, and there's an area that we must have an effect to the positive. There is an area that we must have an effect to the pot. I see this thing is going to go far. Look, all the King's men, we're going to talk about this ability to for the next few weeks, because we're at the end of the year. And at the end of the year, you got to be starting to look at birthing things. I don't want you to look at it as the end and I start new when January 1 of a new year come in. We got to start looking at it now, because when January 1, that could be your birthing time, that you birthed it, but you're not prepared for the birth. And then you have what we call a stillbirth, or you have a miscarriage, and the thing doesn't go nowhere because you did not take care to nurture the seed, the thing that was germinating on the inside of you. I need the ability to grow. So we're going to come on back for this Friday assessment. We're going to come on back for this check-in, and we're going to continue all to grow together as all the King's men. All the King's men, I thank you once again for joining in today. I pray that this has been a blessing. This blessing has something that was said today have changed your life tremendously. I pray that it even changed the trajectory of your life. Why? Because you are no more now hooked on to somebody else and what they're doing and pressing it. It's nothing wrong with helping somebody else with their calling, with their purpose. But you got to understand, if your purpose is not tied into their purpose, and you're supposed to be going over there, but yet you're going over there because it feels good to the flesh, you're out of order. You'll never reap the full blessings. You'll always look for them and think that your blessings is inside of them. But all the King's men, that's for another day and another time. I pray that you have a blessed day, blessed weekend, a blessed week to come. Until next time, be blessed.